everybody, and welcome back once again. It's Thursday on Inside the Headset, and I'm on location for the very first time over to Stewart's Creek High School. Got the head coach of the Red Hawks with me, head coach Ben Caudill. How you doing today, Coach?
Good, Stuart. Good to have you here.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Well, last Friday night didn't go the way you wanted. Didn't go a lot of ways for a lot of people, even myself as a broadcaster, but got over to Oakland, talked to Coach Creasy on Wednesday yesterday, and guys got on the field about 8:30, and take it away from there, Coach, your side of the story.
Yeah, so we got out there, got warmed up and everything, and even while we were warming up, I thought I saw a strike or two, but as soon as we got off, that's when it really started getting delayed. I think we were about to get lined up and head down to the field.
Where was your kids' mental attitude? I mean, or do you know, or I mean, what?
Yeah, well, we were lined up, about ready to head to the field, and I got a bunch of different messages from other people that we were in a delay, and then all of a sudden I got my phone back and got a bunch of messages from Coach Creasy, our AD, and about every 10 minutes or so I'd get another one saying, "Hey, here's the time." So anyways, finally we got out there.
Are you in the gym at this time? Have they moved you to the gym when you're catching these messages?
Yep.
Okay.
So our, the locker room at Oakland's, there next to the gym. And so once he told me that we kind of needed to warm up before we got back down, we took our shoes off and stuff and went in the main gym and walked around a little bit, stretched a little bit. And, there at 8:30, we kind of started the game, and there weren't any interruptions after that.
And when you went through the game, and as the first quarter, you got on the board, you tied up with them, you felt pretty good, but you're kind of thinking, okay, this is going good. Is the game going to? There's a lot of things going on in the back of your mind as you're still trying. Is this game going? Am I going to get through this game? I mean, where am I going to be? A lot of things like that were probably happening.
Yeah, the game started off, really well for us. It was 7-7 and. Unfortunately, their first drive, Stork, on offense, I believe, was the only drive they had that they had to cross the 50-yard line. It was a game, especially as it wore on, that special teams and field position really took over. Unfortunately, really against.
Let me get that. Keep talking, Coach.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Against any team, you can't turn the ball over. And unfortunately, we had two offensive turnovers, inside our own 10-yard line, and so we gave them 14 points, and they had to get about 25 yards of offense to get it, and so that was unfortunate, but had some bright spots offensively early in our first drive and in the first drive of the second half, and so those are the bright spots, against a team like Oakland that you got to focus on.
Yeah, and once his defense gets cranked up and stuff, they run a different mentality. I mean, they thrive on that. So if they get one, then they want to get two, and it kind of snowballs from there with his group. He's got them trained to do that, to reflect on that and use that as a weapon.
Yep, they got a new defense coordinator, new D-line coach. I know Coach Edie's coaching the secondary too. A lot of new faces on that side of the ball, and there's definitely a false rumor going around that they were going to be a little down on that side of the ball this year. I tell you, we've gone up against Oakland many times, and I think, this Oakland team can stand toe-to-toe with many of them. And
they reloaded.
They did, and they, I tell you, when you got a senior quarterback, you can tell that, the Hewitt kid really operates and does what Creasy's wanting him to do. You can tell it's his second year, running his offense, and that kid's a great player. A lot of experience up front as well. Some new ball carriers, but when you return that senior quarterback, I think it definitely overshadows some of those other things.
Right.
And, so like I said, there's
because he's a multi-dimensional quarterback. He can run it, he can throw it, or he can hand it off to one of his guns. And when you've got that type of guy, when you take him to two-dimensional, and well, he's not that much of a runner. He's a pocket passer. So now he's a passer and he can hand it off. He's two-dimensional. And then when you take it down and you say, oh, he's only one-dimensional. He can't throw and he can't run. So now he's down to what? Handing it off. And you've seen some teams like it. But when they can do all three, you're you're in for a long night, no matter how good you are, because he always runs a chance that he can hurt you at any point when he's got the ball in his hands and start the snap.
Yeah, really good competitor. Reminds me a little bit of the Smyrna quarterback, similar size, 6'1", 6'2", 220, 230. And, some quarterbacks don't really like to run the ball, but you can tell the Hewitt kid for Oakland, he really likes to run it. Really physical player.
Kind of a Tebow-ish.
Yep,
He's not scared. He keeps linebackers honest. Your linebackers have to stay home, don't they? In that instance, they can't fly around. They got to stay home.
Yeah, great operator. Great quarterback. But like I said, there's some bright spots for us offensively.
Sure.
I think if we can, handle our special teams and field position battle a little bit better, which we've addressed this week, I think it, can change a few things in that game. But at the same time, Oakland's a great team, and we learned a lot about ourselves as well last Friday night.
And you always do. Just so you know it, the fraternity of coaches, the other one said, there's us, and then there's his style, and his style is what he does, and he's built that program. He's built it. Coach McDaniel did his thing, and then now Creasy's come in and doing his thing. But it's a whole totally different plan which is fine. It's just what works for what each individual, and he seems to have had it and everything. Enough about the Oakland. It's in the books. Now we move on. Let's talk about the logistics here. I've got behind me. We're sitting around here and we're looking, but a lot of work, a lot of yeah, we'll do this and yeah, we'll do that. We can raise the money, but we're sitting here on turf, and when you start thinking about this time last year, mowing grass and everything, turf was probably the first thing from your mind. And thinking that, a year from now, but when you get into game 4, and you're sitting around thinking game 4, rewind 365, you wasn't telling, wait guys, next year by game 4, you'll be playing on turf. You wasn't saying those things because it hadn't evolved yet. It takes a lot to get this done, much less the installation.
Man, I tell you, there's been a lot that's gone into, this field. Something I'm really proud of. Something our administration, Dr. Clark Harrell, everybody.
No matter what, you and Dr. Harrell and all of y'all that participated, regardless of what happens in the past, this is a stamp for the high school.
Touchdown Club, Youth League, everything. It's been an incredible ride. When we really knew we had to have it was last year. The past several years we've hosted the state band competitions, and it was a huge, fiasco this past year with teams from Johnson City to Memphis that show up. And unfortunately, when we played Riverdale the last game last year, our field got really in really bad shape, and then our youth league had to play. And so anyways, I knew when our season ended last year, we immediately started setting some things up, and
at least make a run for it. Let's see where we are financially if we're going to try to pull this off.
And
when did you think that you possibly could put the daggone thing together and have all the pieces and parts it took to put? And did you make some phone calls to other people that had done the turf, model, and the companies that had installed it? And it was more or less just a really an adventure for you to start off and try to figure that. Now, was you lead dog, or was you and Dr. Harrell when you all talked about it? Was you kind of put in charge as the one that maybe as the committee man, or what?
Well, there's a lot of moving parts. Obviously, taking the loan out through our Touchdown Club, all the approval through central office.
Dr. Sullivan, I was watching the board meeting actually when it came up, and the Stewart's Creek went through just fine, no questions, but still. A lot of work has to be done before you get that on the agenda for the board meeting.
Going through the bank. The bank is really savvy, and knowing that, hey, Booster Club leadership changes and all the stuff just to get the loan finalized is, took a whole lot of legwork as well. But, at the end of the day, this is something for us that, is going to be a huge blessing. It's a huge need. Our youth league is exploding in growth year 2. Anybody that's practiced on our practice field and the freshmen behind the middle school understand how big of a deal this is for us. And just looking at some of the drone shots that our engineer took yesterday, I think there might be more actual square footage to practice outside of the game field, like where we're sitting right now, than there is on our practice field. And just being out on it for the first time yesterday was really surreal.
Yeah.
Just, there's been so many times where we're trying to do stuff on offense and they're running into a drill on defense. And but I tell you, it's a huge.
The lines on the field, on the field, and how you call plays, and where kids are set up. That's the big difference in coach and practice. I mean, knowing where everybody, you can see the diagrams of what you're trying to do, and you can't see that over there if it's not marked off.
Yeah, it's exciting. Our youth league's going to be able to play on this field. You think about a 6-7-year-old playing on a turf field. I would have never experienced that.
Just so you know, so I came here in '98. So in 2000, right off Sam Ridley, right here as you go toward the airport, they opened. I christened the lower field, Smyrna Youth Football Field. Donnie Carter. We named that Donnie Carter Field, and God rest his soul. But I was the announcer there from 2000, 2001, and 2002. But I was the old announcer over at the old school and everything. But yeah, I know a lot about youth football and the wear and tear it takes. When you run, I would get there and we would run, I'd run 8 games. I'd run from 9 o'clock in the morning until we'd hit AAA by 7 o'clock, and Donnie's boys would come on, and that was the end. That was usually, that was the last game of the evening. But if anybody had never been to a youth football day, a full day here in Rutherford County, it's a long day for those that, whether you're working the concession stand or you're just trying to keep up the logistics, much less on one field, but we were running 2 over there. So, and had, I think it was 735 football players and 250, 230, and running a budget of about $88,000, $90,000 running through a youth football program, and all of it accounted for. Of course, all that money had to be accounted for the city, through the city of Smyrna, because the fields are owned by the airport and leased to the city for a penny. And then if the airport ever needs that land, they can take it back over because it's a grant. It's a grant. But to have it here and to have all the things you talk about, and no watering, no more fertilizer, cancel all those bills and things like that, it's truly a blessing to have for your squad, your community, because there'll be a lot of things. Lacrosse, it opens up so many more doors, doesn't it?
It does. Just right now, with the weather we've had this week, it'd be a huge challenge to, paint our field. That's something we don't have to worry about.
That's over.
It's a huge blessing. It's something that's going to bring our entire community together. Band, cheer, dance, obviously football, soccer, everybody. It's going to be really exciting.
Well, and I want to clear this up with a lot of people. Football coaches, if they could do it and maintain it, and it was available to them, they want to play on grass. No question, you want to play on grass. The injuries are less. The game was invented on grass. Grass is the best way. But when you start talking about logistics and the amount of activities that the high school, the middle school, the youth, the band, and everybody else has to use this ground we're sitting on, grass is not a solution. It's just a Band-Aid. You plant it, you work it, and mow it, and do everything and hope. Well, we hope it'll hold together, but there's no guarantees, and you end up spending a lot of money trying to find out how good you are, and then at the end of the season, you find out really how bad you are at trying to be a field maintenance. And if you're not everybody had their systems too. Philip took care of the one over at Smyrna for years and years and years, and then took care of the one at Blackman, and I can remember all that. And now watching the fields, I talked to Kreisky the other day, they're halfway there. So eventually, Rutherford County will be all turf. It will be a turf place.
Well, I tell you, in November, when we realized we had to have it, it's you do your homework really fast. In this county, you realize you better put your fundraising hat on, and it's something, once again, that I'm really proud of our community and such a young school and how we got it done, and we did it the hard way, and definitely something that's already paying off now that it's complete.
Well, for those of you out there that do have a little extra money, make sure you get it over here to Coach Caudill, because they got a monthly payment they need to make, and I'm sure they would appreciate that.
Quarterly.
Sorry. But if they'll take the money monthly at the bank. I assure you, if you bring it over, they'll log it to the payment books. Let's move on. Your next opponent's 0-3. You're 0-3. Been a rough start for them, been a rough start for you, but the good thing is one of you's going to become a winner on Friday night. And you're hosting Franklin here, and we were just talking about one of their assistants. Did you trade? Now the question comes now. Did you trade with Franklin? Did you actually trade video with Franklin? Okay, all right.
Coach Melton, their head coach, initiated around 3 or 4 after their game. They finished with Ravenwood on Saturday. And
right.
I tell you,
did you go over there, or what? Or did you even venture over there to try to catch that game live?
Me and ironically, me and Coach Creasy actually watched the game together.
Oh, there you go.
Oakland's the second half. Oakland's playing Ravenwood this week, and so.
Right.
I grew up going to church with their offensive line coach there, and one of their other coaches on defense is coached with me at Brentwood, and got a long history going up against Franklin from my days at Brentwood, and. Kerry Collins, former Titans quarterback, is coaching their quarterbacks now. And I tell you, I think the game against Riverdale, their opener, was 0-0 at halftime. And, Franklin also played Page, who is one of the top teams in 5A in the state.
You hear that all the time, that Page is going to be there at the end.
Yeah.
They say, everybody keeps saying, get ready. If they don't hit any injuries, Page will be there in the playoffs making a big statement. A lot of people are saying that.
Yep, Franklin had a bad snap inside the 10-yard line, and also didn't convert on 4th down inside the 10-yard line another time against Ravenwoods, 10-6 there at half. And they are a very, very good football team, and you can tell Coach Melton's second year there is really doing a great job. He was the defense coordinator at Summit when they won the 5A title, and going to be a huge challenge. Obviously, we're excited to be at home. We've done all our scrimmages, 7-on-7s, first 3 games all on the road. Definitely excited to see our whole community, band, school, parents, players, everybody.
It is a gathering here at Stewart's Creek. It is a community gathering. I've been here to a couple of games, and they come out really strong for Stewart's Creek Red Hawk football.
Yep. Yeah, this community's awesome, and always behind our team, and we're really excited to open this field and dedicate it there about 6:45 tomorrow night. Excited about that.
Who are we dedicating it to so we can get that out?
Yeah, well, just dedicate the field. Mayor Mary Esther Reed is going to be here. Some representatives from Central Office, the president at First Bank, who's been instrumental in helping us get this done, is going to be here.
The guy or the gal that's going to be expecting the money.
He's definitely going to be here. He's going to be wearing a Stewart's Creek hat.
Okay, so we did get
Yeah, our contractor Lou Werner and his team are going to be here.
Good.
So it's going to be a big moment for us to be able to have all those parties involved together tomorrow night.
One last thank you to everybody, and I guess it's only appropriate. I mean, tomorrow night will be a big night here, but it's a big thank you to all those and everybody. And if I started off saying, Coach Caudill, just name a few people, you would the list would be 4 or 5 pages. We'd be here. We'd be here till kickoff, naming all the people that did it. But it's huge, isn't it?
It is.
It's huge, and I'm happy for you. And it's another big thing. How about tomorrow night, kids? Right here at 7 o'clock. Franklin's coming in. Get here. Get loud and be proud and cheer on the Red Hawks. That game's at 7 o'clock.